So, good morning to all. Today's so, today's session, technical session, starts with the lecture by Dr. K.K. Sarma, who is scientist SG, Northeast Space Center, NESAC, Indian Space Organization, Umiam, Meghalaya. So now just going, I'm just going through the brief biodata of Dr. K.K. Sarma. Dr. K.K. Sarma working as a scientist, engineer, SG at NESAC, Umiam, and obtained MA degree in botany, action Guwahati University, and he got his PhD from Gurgaon University. So he has a research at RRI Jorat, research associate at Rainforest Institute, Jorat. He has joined in Northeastern Space Application Center in 2002. So he's specialized in remote sensing applications, industry and biodiverse applications. He is interested in technology applications, biodiversity, ecosystem, forestry, natural assessment. Dr. Sarma has supervised many PhD students. Dr. Sarma has published more than 40 research papers, national, international, and also more than 60 similar papers he published. He Dr. Sarma is the coordinator for Northern region of all ISRO natural resource management, like land use, land cover mapping, and Northern region using multi-temporal slide imagery, external update.
Yeah.
Because for Kia, now you can start your session.
Okay. Thank you for nice introduction. I think I should start now. Am I audible? Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Please share screen.
Yeah. I will be doing that. So thank you for nice introduction. My screen is visible now, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, visible.
Thank you. So thank you, Dr. Raja, Dr. Patnaik, for giving me the opportunity to speak all of you, and also thanks all the participants who have already joined to this webinar. So the topic I have given is that forest growing stock assessment using geospatial technology. So yesterday, Dr. Joshi and Dr. Singh has given very nice, lecture, nicely explained the role of remote sensing, GIS technology in forestry in general. So there is not much to talk about in general, but today I will be talking specifically in only one area, that is on growing stock assessment. And that is mostly on based. My talk will be mostly on our case studies, what we have been doing, so that it will be more easy for all of you to understand how this technology is being used. But to start with, at least we need to build a concept. So I put very few slides, which I think I could have omitted, but I thought it is easy for me also to continue the concept. So that this is what the forest is. If you see these two images, one right, there is a right side image which you normally see in the Google. If you see the Google image, Google Earth, you see an image like this. It looks like a natural black and white image. Wherever the left side image, that is, if you see that, by now you know that this is one FCC, that is false color composite, where vegetation high reflectance in near infrared put in the red color. So there you see each and every tree is visible. So if you get an image like this, you can do wonder. You can do lots of information extraction. You can do lots of analysis, lots of modeling. You can do. So that's what the possibilities nowadays using satellite imagery. But when we talk about geospatial technology, it has two basic components. One is that remote sensing, and another is the GIS component. So GIS component also explained yesterday, remote sensing also explained, but very few slides I kept so that it will be easy for me to refer subsequently. Then when we talk about remote sensing, particularly interaction with these trees, that EMR, electromagnetic radiations, which interact with leaves, is mostly in the visible and near infrared regions, which we are using within our visible portion of electromagnetic radiations, which is sensitive to our eyes. Blue and red region is absorbed by the plants, and green is reflected. So that's why vegetation is green. However, beyond that, there are lots of information available which is reflected, which is emitted by the plants, which are not sensitive to our eyes. So the remote sensing technology uses those information and convert those information to data. From this data, lots of modeling is to do. So here, if you see that internal structure of the leaves, the internal structure of leaves, how these velicular cells are arranged, what is the vacuole size, what is the water content inside this. This has a role in the amount of reflectance. That means types of leaves has a role in reflectance patterns, reflectance intensity. So there is a dry leaves, there is a wet leaves, there is a healthy leaves, there is a disease leaves. So everything matters. Now, based on the sensors, what you are using, you can detect many information. You can take the precautionary measure to overcome those type of stresses. So those are the possibilities. And this is what this curves has already shown yesterday, that how this standard vegetation curve says that within this visible portion of electromagnetic radiation, only green is there. But there is a high amount of reflectance in near infrared. Then there is some depletions due to absorption of carbon dioxide, water molecule, ozone, many other molecules. Then this pattern is normally it is a standard, so we call it there's spectral signature for vegetation. But if we compare with soil, water, and vegetation, you see there are the distinct differences. But within the vegetation, again, because of number of leaves available in the tree, number of leaves available, and the orientation of leaves available, the reflectance pattern has changed. Another important points is that the pigmentations, different pigments, like if there is a chlorophyll, there is anthocyanin. If there is no chlorophyll with anthocyanin, then there is a anthocyanin as well as chlorophyll, both are there. Somewhere there is no pigments. Based on that, these reflectance patterns would be different, or the spectral signature will be different. By now, you know what the spectral signature is. So if you see a spectral signature, spectral curve from a plant, and if you never know the physical status of the plan, I mean, of that particular time, then based on that signature, spectral signature, you can assume, infer many parameters will pertaining to that particular plant. Here, even within the vegetation, based on leaves, as I said, leaf structure, the edaphic factor where it is growing, every tree, every type of tree will give a different type of reflectance, spectral signature. So based on this, you can definitely classify all these plants. This is how where this or spectral signature used for image classification or forest classification. Another important parameters which we normally use in the forestry is that vegetation stage, growth stages, which yesterday has Professor Singh has Dr. Singh has nicely explained about NDVI. So different growth stages, how NDVI changes. So using all these parameters, what I have shown earlier, spectral signatures, NDVI, then there are many some other indices are there. All together we can use to retrieve many parameters from a forest. This is what very briefly I wanted to convey about the remote sensing parts of this forest trees particularly. Then all this application, all this remote sensing techniques which are used in forestry are that forest non-forest segregation directly, forest type mapping, forest cover density, then gregarious forest distribution, that means forest species distribution, then growing stock estimations, tree height, deforestation, forest and forest degradation, then change detection, biomass, species distribution, modeling we can do, habitat, wildlife habitat, monitoring the analysis, forest fire, shifting cultivation. There are many studies are there which we can do using remote sensing and geospatial technology. But today we will be discussing mostly on growing stock estimations. This is what our topic is. Let's come to the point. Then when we talk about growing stock, if I understand many of you are already students of forestry and also faculties of forestry, so you know what the growing stock is. So it is nothing but the volume of all living trees in a particular area, in a particular reserve forest, maybe compartment or maybe a division, maybe a state. So what is the total forest growing timber available in that particular area? That is how when you calculate together, that becomes the growing stock. So growing stock is also always estimated based on a particular measurement, which is normally we call that GBH, girth at breast height. That is also is measured for a tree. So when we define a tree, it is always considered as any tree diameter more than 30 centimeter girth is considered as tree. So all this growing stock, when we calculate, we always calculate trees growing in a particular area above 30 centimeter girth. So the subsequent slides will be talking whenever we are talking about the tree or growth or growing stock, it will always refer to the trees pertaining to above 30 centimeter diameter class only. So growing stock, why it is important? Because mainly this is a primary input for preparation of forest working plan. So all of you know what the forest working plan is. Forest working plan is nothing but it is a management plan for the forest departments for a 10 years forest management plan. Means if any forest, when they are going to manage it, they have to make a proper plan for 10 years. Every year, what will be which area they are going to extract, what will be where they are going to plant, go for replantation, where will be this what is called a thinning. All these plans has to be prepared and has to be approved by the Ministry of Forest and Forest Environment and Forest and Climate Change by Government of India. Until and unless MOEFCC approved, a working plan is not valid for the department. So this is very important, and for this forest working plan, this actual status of the growing stock is very important, because until and unless you know what is the amount or what is the money you have in your bank, you can't make a plan for your 1 year or 2 years duration. You should know what is that what is fund you have with you. So that's why this growing stock is very important for the forest departments, and it is a primary input for the forest working plan. growing stock is equally important to understand the productivity of a forest, because it is used to evaluate and monitor the commercial potential of a forest, for timber, for fuel wood, or whatever you say. And for even harvesting also, growing stock, extending growing stock is very important. The important information on growing stock is also essential for understanding the ecological dynamics and the productive capacity of forest stands, and also allows the manager to the ability to manage stands within the limit of sustainability as defined by their dynamics of the growth. So the commercial value is derived from the total growing stock and constitute the proportion of the growing stock that is represented by commercial tree species fulfilling minimum criteria for quality, dimension, and sometimes age as well as development stages. So this is very important. And this also, growing stock leads to quantification of biomass and carbon stored, because this once you know what is the timber value available, based on that you can convert this to biomass. Of course, this will be only tree biomass. Then also, once you know the biomass, then converting them to carbon is easy, because every country we need to report to IPCC about the net carbon and greenhouse gas emissions emissions. So this is very important parameters which we need to evaluate every year. If you see the total world's growing stock is estimated as almost 434 billion maybe cubic meters, which is of which around 30% are found in the South America. In India, first Survey of India generating information on growing stock since 1965, because that means growing stock is not a new thing for us. And the total growing stock in India is estimated to be around 5,915.76 million cubic meters, with an average growing stock of 58.46 cubic meter per hectare. That as far as State of Forest Reports 2019. This is what this as per FSR 2019. This is distribution of growing stock in states of in all the states and union territories of India. If you see the Arunachal Pradesh, there is total growing stock is almost 5,533 million cubic meter. However, the growing stock per hectare is around 89. So almost say 89 cubic meter per hectare. In India, if you see the statistics, highest growing stock available as per hectare is in Jammu and Kashmir, and then the ranges follows from almost from 30 to almost it is a 24 to almost 144. And this SFR State of Forest Report also defined this growing stock available within the forest as well as trees outside the forest too. And also the SFR also given the details about this dominant species, around 10 species. It is stating that Surya Robusta is dominating the growing stock. Almost 10% of the total country's forest is having the by Surya Robusta, followed by Tictona grandis. That's how the statistics is. Now, when we talk about this growing stock, this is what this FSI is doing. Now, when we measure or when we calculate the estimate the growing stock, we need field information, because until and unless you have a field measurement, you can't do any modeling. Yesterday, I think Professor Joshi has mentioned, without sensing, remote sensing has no sense. Means if until and unless you sense on the ground, that is ground truth, if you do, remote sensing can give you any accurate information. Sorry. So we need to do the actual ground measurement, particularly for this type of estimates when we are talking about growing stock and any other estimates. This has to be substantiated by the ground measurement first. So that is what, without the detailed measurement, we can't understand the potential of growth contained within a single tree species or even a population. So even when we see that, this is one example. as per standards, the earlier as per normally growing stock is being estimated by all the state forest departments for the as a requirement for forest working plans. Earlier, as per working plan course, there is a requirement of at least 10% sampling intensity. So when we talk about sampling intensity, intensity means out of total area which is to be estimated, which is to be calculated, growing stock calculated, at least 10% of the area to be ground survey. So here one example, these are the division 100 compartments are there. If you even if we make a 5% or 10% intense sampling intensity, even if you see some of the compartments will be untouched. And these all hundreds are based on the variability. There is a differences in the growing stock. That means when we do normal field survey, there is always likelihood that we will be either overestimating or will be underestimating. To make a very reasonable, accurate estimations by only by ground survey, we have to do the total survey. So that is 100% sampling. So if you do the 100% sampling, there is no use of other technology, and it will be very costly. It will be time consuming, and it is not necessary at all because when higher technologies are available. So what we normally do here is that statistically what we do is that for this we need to first understand what is the sample size required. It's not the sampling intensity, sample size. To calculate the sample size, all these forests which is normally a biological, when we talk about the biological population, they are always heterogeneous. So we need to subgroup those heterogeneous group is into small homogeneous group. Means we are making within the total forest area, we will be making some small groups which are relatively homogeneous. That is we call as a strata. So that will help us to first segregate this group, and then if we do the sampling in the individual all the small homogeneous group, or otherwise in the strata, then our accuracy within the strata will be very high. And summation of all the total information together will give the total estimation of the entire area. So that is how the basic concept is, that how the remote sensing geospatial technology is used in calculating the growing stock. So why it is doing this sampling is done is that to increase the precision of sample estimates. This is how this our stratification is done. Then also it helps in understanding the population variability within the population. Then reduce the sampling variance by dividing the population into number of homogeneous groups, what I have just said. And then we can follow the standard sampling procedure, maybe randomized sampling design, or maybe stratified sampling design, whatever we do. That there is a methodology, standard methodology, we can follow any of the methodology. So this will give very high accurate estimations. What we do, conventional, that I just the example I have shown is conventionally it is done a simply systematic sampling. So this is that systematic sampling suffers due to various strata and burden with intensive field, and also it will be very expensive. However, satellite data, when we use the geospatial technology, so here particularly for stratification, we use this remote sensing data. So satellite data help in primarily stratification, maybe based on forest density, type, or slope, elevation, any strata which is very unique to the particular the area under study can use, like elevations, sometimes soil, sometimes maybe slope, whatever required. So that will divide this entire study area into small number of groups which are relatively homogeneous, and we can distribute the sample plots only those area, and representative of those sample points will be calculated, estimated based on the data collected from those areas. But for doing those, for stratification, we need a priori knowledge. Means we need to understand the first, we need to know what is the study area. Suppose, say an example in Arunachal, if we going to do a growing stock estimation, then we need to first know what is the elevation pattern there, what is the rainfall pattern there, what is the soil type, what is the general forest type, what is the normal density. That a priori knowledge is very important. So now based on the strata, based on the in the a priori knowledge, first level information, a first level grouping we can do. This type of grouping, first level grouping can be done just based on the forest non-forest area segregation. Then within the forest, what is the dense forest, what is the low open forest, this type of first level of grouping can do. And then based on these grouping, sample points can be distributed. This is what this example is, the growing stock estimations, not only growing stock, all estimations they are doing also like this. Stratifications, these are mostly these are mostly by physiographic zones. There are 16 physiographic zones segregated, and within the 16 physiographic zones, estimations are done based on sampling design, specific sampling design, what they are following. Here one example is that if we use satellite data, what type of satellite data we should use. Here satellite data is there. Here is that if we see this is our 5.1 meter resolution. Earlier we used to use for 5.1 meter resolution. This is one reserve forest of our Meghalaya, where this center is, my center is located. Here if you see, this looks like this forest is these are of course this black tones are forest area. It looks like almost monotonous, but if you have the technology, if you have money, if you have the technology, if you can process it, if we use little bit higher resolution satellite data, you see the within the for the same area segregations are possible. Now here, if you see here, if you distribute the sample points, you will distribute say maybe one here, one here, one here. What will happen? It will have underrepresented. But now, if you have a segregation, then you will be able to judiciously distribute the sample points so that the sample points locates all type of forest areas. Here another example of, see, this also looks like monotonous. When earlier sample forest density was mapping within 5.8 meter, it was little bit arbitrary type. But same area, when we do classification again with 1 meter high resolution data, these are more prominent, more clear, and segregations are better, and more number of classes are coming up. And if you see, if you remember forest cover areas of FSI earlier, once there is a difference between 95 and 98, I think, number of total area has been decreased. This is because of changes in resolution. So that's how this resolution is a very important type of what type of work you are doing. Based on that, resolution is important. And now when like this, when you do the visual interpretation, first you need to understand, you need to go to the field, you need to tally with the imagery and the ground, and you need to generate some keys. An example of count density is corresponding with the cutoff set image and the ground. Like this, we need to go to the field, take imagery, and generate the key, so that when 5 people are doing the interpretation at the same time, of course, if it is visual interpretation, 5 people are doing the interpretation, their individual perception will not work. If once you have the standard key, like generate a standard key like this, so that when all these areas join together, then you will have a seamless density map of the particular area. This is very important. Here, one example of this one Kukurkata Reserve Forest, that is some part of Assam. Like this forest density map is prepared. Then this is one example of along forest division. This is what forest density map by 1:50,000 scale, this by FSI, and this is what this is prepared by at NSAC 1:10,000 scale. Instance, you may not, these differences may not look like, may not be there, but if you see in a little bit minutely, you see that within these classes there is a small variations are there. If we analyze a small area, you see this. Now you see FSI and that prepared by 10,000 scale by NSAC. A trend may be similar, but within this classes there are lots of variation. This is because since it is digital, it is purely based on spectral signature. However, here this is mostly based on texture, tone, and association, because this is visual. Then if you see the statistics, only differences are there. In total forest cover will be almost same, but however there could be some differences within the different forest classes, open, dense, and very dense. This is nothing but there is no changes actually on the forest, but this is only due to different formats of image interpretation, digital as well as visual. So like this, based on your requirement, study area, we need to opt for the type of interpretation, type of process, type of techniques what we are going to use. Now, if I say smart this is FSI is wrong, no, it is not wrong, because it is not possible to do entire country's image interpretation within 6 months, 7 months time through visual image interpretation. It's not possible. So there has to be some regional level, or there has to be some standard methodology for regional level, which is digitally done by FSI. Then that is what this density map is, one of the type, one of the input for the stratification. Then forest type. I'm not talking about how classification is done, but I just like to highlight here is that if you see this image, now you know all the red patches are the vegetation. But within the red, there are lots of differences. If you see this here, this area, these are red, very dark red. These are also dark, very dark red, blackish red. However, there is a red. But if you see the granules, there are differences. Now, if you know the ground, and if you know the signature pattern of different types, forest type, forest species composition, you will know that these are look like smooth. So this normally grass or this type of vegetation give, if it is a healthy, of course, it will give this type of reflectance, young plants. However, since if you see the almost uniform type, that means these are almost at the same height. So these are what type of, if you go in one of the places, you will know these are nothing but a bamboo. So that means that's how you can classify this. You can classify, and now based on signatures of those particular sites, which is also called as a training site, you can run the classification. Whatever classification technique you follow is up to you, but you can generate a very good forest type map of these areas. Again, another important here, if you see only one image, it's fine. But there are some areas where same area. This if you see the left image, it looks like all are open soil. However, in the same image in November, it looks like very dense. That means these are deciduous forests. That means you need to judiciously use the satellite data technology available to identify all the possible and correct way of classifying the forest. Another small techniques what we can use very easily. Suppose we have two dates of data, one is February, one is November. Same satellite data, if you see, same area, if you see in the two seasons, these are different directly in FCC, looks like different. What we can run, we can run NDVI. NDVI already explained by how NDVI is run, what is the range, what that type of outputs can come, already explained by Professor and Dr. Singh yesterday. So this is what the NDVI image is up to that. Now if we combine, suppose we combine this NDVI image of 1st November of 2013, or that is band 1, that is in the red I have given, suppose NDVI of 5th November, in green band we have given, and NIR of 1st November, and the satellite data, if I put, image will look like this. Then another, if we change the band combination, first NDVI of 1st November 2013, and then band 2 of this one NDVI of this 5th November, February have given same NDVI, only they have changed the NIR band here. See that the image differences. Now this type of combination, if you run together and then run a classification, we can simply at the same single image we can classify all entire area into different segregations. Of course, some fine tuning is required. So these are some of the techniques. That is up to you what type technique you will use, but whatever technique you use, we need to go to the ground, do some ground validation first, do the accuracy estimation as Professor Singh, Professor Joshi has explained accuracy. Those things we have to do and generate the final map. This is one example of Meghalaya forest type map of Meghalaya. This is what we have generated. So the different forest types we have generated, including all other classes, other land use classes. Like this, you can generate. But important point is here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, including bamboo. There is a 7 classes. The 7 classes here in a forest type. Suppose I use the forest density. There are 4 density. So 7 and then 7 and 4. If we put 4 from 7 from forest type and 4 from forest density, if we use, number of strata will increase by 4 into 7 equal to 28. 28 classes we will get. If we use again the elevation one of the classes, suppose 3 classes, then 28 into 3, that is that many strata will come. So that may not be possible to handle, and we need some minimum sampling points from each sampling representation from each strata. So that many sampling doing, and again will be a huge Herculean task. So we need to reduce this even forest types. So we can regroup again some forest types into some of the common features like deciduous, semi-evergreen, or pine, mixed bamboo. These are based on your prior knowledge of the region. So we can again regroup some of the classes together to reduce the one of the strata or some of the strata. So here what happened when we group into 4, only 4 type of forest types, and 4 into 4 from density, only we are getting 16 classes. And 16 into 3, if we use from this elevation, then the total strata will come down to 48. So like this, we can judiciously use the data what you have with you. In addition to that forest density, forest type, there are many other classes, many other type of information which you can derive from satellite data or geospatial technology. You can use for your stratifications. Like one is the example. See, if you see this one, this is from Lantingmupa Reserve Forest of Assam, Dimahasa districts of Assam. See, if you see here, this is the reserve forest boundaries. Yellow boundaries are nothing but the compartment boundaries. If you see, if we treat this compartment and this compartment in the same way, it will not work because of slope, because of aspect. Plants growing this region and plants growing this region will not be the same, or will not be at the same field condition, vegetal conditions. So we need to consider those areas, those points also. So like this is one from riverian forest from Mizoram Kolasik division. There, what is important is that they are 200 meters from the both side of the river is that they define as the riverine reserve forest. If you see this image, this is list 3 and this is a panchromatic image. This looks like almost similar. However, if you say in data, if you see in the 3D, you will get the segregation and you will feel the all other factors what you should use. That means DM is very important. If you have DM, you should use it. So now I'm coming back to some of the examples from the actual work from the case studies. Here is one example from Alam Forest Division. Here there's a forest type. We have regrouped the entire Alam Division into only 3 classes. The 3 forest type, that means forest type is 3. And then as per FSI, this is 3 classes, 10 to 40, 40 to 70, above 73 classes is regrouped. So here we will get this 3 into 9 strata. Then we have slope maps. Then we have again slope is very important because also requirement is that forest departments now requirement is that they need to understand, they need to estimate the growing stock available below 30-degree slope and above 30-degree slope, because nowadays they need to conserve this whatever trees growing, those areas growing within the Hello. Little later, I'll call you back. Am I Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Now
Okay.
you are.
Should I continue?
So you can continue. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
sir.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. My slide is visible now. Um,
Yes, sir.
yeah, thank you. Thank you. So what I was telling that, so that 30 degree, above 30 degree, this you can also generate once you have the data with you, digital data with you. So this DM slope map you can generate from DEM. Then this is one example of Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Mizoram. Also, all data are available with us. Also, it's available for you too through our web portals. So like this, DM is available. Once you have the DM, you can wonder the way you like. You can generate the strata, generate the different classes. Here it is elevations. Once you have that elevations is very important, you know, for the growing conditions of trees and for the species distribution. Like elevation, these are the different type of strata you can use. Then once you have elevation and then you have DM, slope is can be generated. Now here, like this, for along divisions, when we combine all this data, here we have utilized for type, density, and elevation. There's three. So there are three. It will be total 3 into 3, 9 into 3, total 29 strata we have you have got here for the along division. So when once you have the strata and then you have the digital data with you, you know the total area available within each strata. So now these are different strata. Total area is 3,16,603 hectare area total for along division. So each and every pixel, every area of the division is now mapped. Once you have the data, once you have the strata with you, what we are doing? What you go, how you go for the stock map generation. So forest can be an other land use mapping at 1:10,000. That is our first level. Then this is usually do by visual interpretation. Then first important point is that you need to know the what is the heterogeneity. To calculate what is the sampling intensity, what will be the sample size required to represent the area in your estimation with the desired accuracy or with desired allowable errors. I'm coming back to that. So this for pre-inventory, the forest sampling density, of course, 25 into 25 second grids. These are based on our working plan code requirement. Then here, what we can do, this whatever steps here showing is not necessary has to be applicable to all areas. But important point here is that particularly this along division of all this Arunachal Pradesh, when we give a sample point, it's very important to see that sample points is followed such a way that it is accessible. Accessible means it is reachable. Because many of the, if we simply allow the randomizer to distribute the sample points, it will fall in such a way that nobody can reach those areas. Because the very steep slope, you cannot go down, even cannot up. So what is the strategy followed is that within the 2 kilometers of roads, sample point has to follow. So you put the road network with a buffer. Then sample plots has to fall within the RF boundaries only, or maybe RF boundary, or maybe whatever the boundary you want, that boundary also you put together. You could give the elevation classes so that particular slope we can omit. Together, when we put all together, then if we allow those preconditions, if you put together and then allow the sample to distribute, it will software will distribute the sample plots. These are purely randomized. Then field data collection by field forest department. Here is forest department, but particularly if some researchers are doing can be done by anyone. This from this field data we get the variability of growing stock. So that means what is the variability? From this variability, we calculate this variability comes from the coefficients from the perimetry data. From there, we calculate the total number sample size. Here, one important point is what here we are not. I'm not mentioning as the sampling intensity. I'm talking about the sample size. So what is the number of sample points required to calculate the growing stock at the desirable accuracy that we can afford to? So now the stratification is done based on the classes, different classes we desire. Then sample plots has been have a mean volume of each stratum is calculated from the statistics for, yeah, of course, yeah, field data collection from the additional points based on the stratifications. Then mean volume each field stratum is calculated. Then statistics for each forest compartment is also has to be calculated. Then estimation of growing stock in each compartment based on the mean volume for each compartment when we calculate, and it is for each compartment based on mean volume and the sharing area of that particular strata of all the strata covering within this compartment. Then we can generate the growing stock. This is what the in nutshell. This is the present this methodology is. Now, when I say that pre-inventory, normally pre-inventory points should be minimum 50 to 70, whatever that you can afford. This will talk about the variability within the sample your study area. So when we go for this estimating the sample size, this standard formula is used. All of you know that T square is into CV square divided by allowable square. Here, if you see, only variable we get from the field is the CV, coefficient of variation of the parameters we are looking for. Why I am saying parameter is that in this case, maybe the timber volume, but if you want to estimate the stem density, number of trees in the different grade classes, all this variability, see, coefficient of variation of all those parameters we can put together, and we can calculate the number of final sample points, total sample points required for estimating the that particular estimating that particular parameter. Here, allowable error stands for your affordability. Means, suppose we don't have that much amount fund available with us and we don't have much time, then allowable error we can afford. Okay, 90% accurate data is acceptable for us. So if we say 90% accurate data is acceptable for us, then here is value will increase by 10. When this value will be allowable error will be 10 to the power 2 equal to 100. Now suppose I want a data estimation with 95% accuracy. That means here this 5 will come, 10 will convert to 5. That means 5 into 5, 25. So 100 will become 25. That means if we increase the accuracy, our effort will be increased by exponentially. That is, suppose here we get 190% accuracy. If we have 10% allowable error, suppose sample point come around 100. Then when if we put 95%, this time 100 will convert to 400. That means our effort will be multiplied by 4 times. We need time 4 times. We need money 4 times. We need manpower 4 times. Everything will be increasing. So that is depends on our capacity, affordability. We can define what is our allowable errors is requirement. So now coming back to some of the examples, that pre-inventory sample plots data we have collected. So these are here, and see each and every compartment sample plots. All trees has been enumerated, and from their field data timber volume has been calculated. Now based on that, mean timber volume is 5, standard deviation is 2.5, and coefficient of variation is 44.29. Based on that, we calculated that sample points required to study and to cover the entire study is 275. So these 275 sample plots we can generate for distributing the entire study area. Same example here is that we have already done the stratifications. Now, first going start when we are going for final sampling sample point distribution. How do few steps only here? We have this forest count and density data 1:10,000. Then we have road network as we explained earlier. Then we have within this, even though we have the buffer, all area may not be covered by forest. So we need to take out the only forest cover within this road buffer. Then again, as per the methodology, this grid has to be followed within each grid, which within this area. Then distribute the sample plots within the reserve forest boundary. So what happened here is that once you do all the pre-processing, now for the field groups it becomes very easy because you have your actual lat long where you are supposed to go. Before going there, you know what is the slope condition, what is the elevation, what is the nearby road connectivity, what is the possible way to reach those points. Everything is in your hand. So you can do entire field exercise very short time. Like this for different states like Mizoram, this like field data field based on this certifications, estimate calculation of number of sample size for based on pre-inventory data. All these areas field data has been, final inventory, final sample price has been distributed. Like this is for along division, entire along division. These are the final sample parts distribution has done. Like Meghalaya is entire Meghalaya has been done. So although Meghalaya only few reserve forest, notified reserve forest is very less, around 4% of the total geographic area. But and the remaining areas which is under autonomous district council, for which not working plan but working scheme is required. All for this also sample plots has been distributed, almost 465 for each block. Development blocks has been distributed like this. The methodology is same, but that's how you can distribute. Now, why we use all this methodology? Means why so many stratification? Why not only one stratification, or only maybe two, then maybe three, like this? So we just try to understand which one is more useful. So we have tried seen the population means and the error estimation in different stratification methods. So when we use only density, if we see the CV is 4.4 here, 4.2 here, and then if you see also standard error 6 mean, and you see the differences, upper limit and lower limit of estimation. If you see 32,459 cubic meter. However, when we use only for density and forest type, it has reduced little. CV standard error as well as differences of upper and lower limit has reduced. When we use density and elevation, they become 12 strata. Also, but it is only also increased. If you omit forest type, stratification, this error has increased again. But when we use density, type, and elevation 24 strata, if that error CV and standard error as well as our differences of upper and lower limit has decreased substantially. That means if more the number of strata we use, better our accuracies. But that depends on how much we can afford. Yeah. Field data has to be collected from field. That has to be done. Since sample size is very low, means in comparison to the total steady area, maybe sampling intensity, if we calculate maybe 0.01% or maybe 0.02%, very low. So here what is required? Each and every tree has to be measured. This has to be, normally it is supposed to be numbered, it has to be measured, and it has also to be identified. Why identification important is because volume equations. When we calculate the timber, each and every tree has their unique timber volume equation. Field data like this is usually comes to the lab of all field data, but nowadays there are apps are already there on the field itself directly. You can enter field data so that it goes to server. There is no data loss, but there is no scope to rectify again. So you have to again redo enter exercise. In that case means field animation of each plot you have to redo. Okay, now so you have calculated, you have done the field work. Now field data, what it's come that this is one field data has to be in a digital form. You have this is X means latitude and longitude and latitude here. So plot numbers, then division, all these information will be there. Then important is there that scientific name. When we have the scientific name, then their actual diameter on the girth means we normally we calculate as girth girth, from their diameter is calculated, because many of the volume, 90% of the volume equations uses the diameter. Based on that, each and every tree's timber volume is calculated. Once each and every tree is calculated, in addition to that, the same database will be having the which strata it is representing. Same, it is girth class. Yeah, important point is girth class means when we talk about this tree, it is any tree above 30 centimeter girth is a tree. But for estimation of timber, you need to understand what is the age classes of this particular forest, what is the different growth stages, how many mature trees are there, how many are in different stages, so that in next 5 years which will be reaching in what girth class. So you have to measure and estimate, calculate all those details also. So based on this girth, we can directly calculate what is the girth class of the present time. Then all like this, all information will be entered there. This is one example. Here is the ideal forest divisions example. These are the riverian reserve forest and with the compartments with some different, with some 1, 2 reserve forest adjacent reserve forests are there. This is compartment map, slope map. Here, this is forest density, elevation, and distribution of sample plots. Those are the sample plots from where field data has come. Then total field data came almost. Total field data came from here is 131 points. From there, like this is the way I explained. This field data has been calculated for. These are the sample plots. Field data has been calculated. Then finally, how it comes that every density classes. What is the, how many numbers are there? What is the density? What is the mean volume of each? That these mean volumes are always for 0.1 hectare, because field plots are always 0.1 hectare size. Then from there, even if you get a standard error of each strata, this is a different density class, and here these are all girth classes. This is G1 means 30 to 60 centimeters, 60 to 60 to 90, 90 to 120, like this different. This is above 180 centimeter girth. So like this, each and every details of each plot, how many trees are there at what girth class, what is the variability within the girth class, within the different density classes, within the different strata, all information you are having. Once we have this, we can simply calculate, because we know the area. We know the area. So particular, this is one Kelong reserve forest or forest division of Arunachal Mizoram. No, this is Arunachal Pradesh. Sorry. Here, the different stratas are there. So we know the total area, and based on the timber mean volume of different girth classes, we can calculate total timber volume having individual girth classes. How many? What is the total timber volume? Also, number of stems. How many trees are there within those particular girth classes? Also, for each strata, we can calculate. So we have a database, or a huge database. If you follow the strategy like this, entire exercise is systematically. If you follow, you will have a huge database. So like this one, this is from example from Meghalaya state. So one blocks data like this, field data comes, even the mean timber volume, how it varies from different girth classes based on different number of trees, number of timber volume. Here, this is the timber volume, this is the tree count. If you see, this type of curves also talks many things, because even if you see the number of timber, this is timber volume. However, this is the tree count here, but here it is timber volume. That is particularly this block, though timber number of trees are more, but if you see the particular, if you see the tree count, that is here this particular area, this plot, maybe their trees are maybe little bit of lower age classes. So that means this forest is relatively young, those areas. Like this, many things we can infer. Of course, you need to study clearly. Okay. So now some few examples I like to highlight here. This, you may get lots of error while if you are doing, you may face lots of error, lots of what is called the obstacles while you are interpreting. Say example here it is. This is, if you see only the density, you will get a different density map. However, if you again same area, if you convert into here, if you see this entire we are covering under density. Here, if you go for the type again, we are based on this forest type, we are getting a different within the density. There are different classes. So like this type of sometimes you need to relook at entire exercise again to see again recalculate. This is an example of like for Meghalaya, entire Meghalaya of reserve forest areas. What is the total timber volume and timber same density distribution? You see, this is the GERT classes timber volume distribution. G6 means this G1 means 30 to 60 centimeter GERT class. Here it is above 180 centimeter GERT class. This is the different densities. Density is the lowest one. Density 5. Here for Meghalaya, density classes were different. They wanted these density classes of 0 to 20% opening, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, and above 80. Since it was visual image interpretation, it is possible to do like this. Every density classes in different GERT classes, you have the total information with you. At what level? At even spatially all details. Each and every compartment, each and every hectare area, what is the number of trees, if I want to know today, if I want to know particularly in along division, which is the highest density areas, where is the number of trees are more dense, but timber volume is less. Everything is possible to generate once you do the growing stock estimation or the calculation like this way. So here one example of along forest divisions again. These are the different timber volume distribution. If you see, these are all these boundaries we have seen. These are compartment boundaries based on micro watersheds. Once you have this DM with you, you can generate micro watershed based compartment boundary again. This is what this land use statistics. How different strata in total. This is not in GERT class wise. This is the growing stock in below 30 degree and above 30 degree. What is the total distribution? Sorry, this is the area in hectare. This is the total distribution of timber volume in cubic meters. Then coming, this is for along forest division again. This is for allo division. Okay, estimation is fine. Now, how you can represent? Suppose this is reserve forest area. This one range here. This range is representing here. This is on this is Maru Jaru Reserve Forest. This is Maru Jaru Reserve Forest. So this is the reserve forest. This is canopy density, type, elevation, and aspect map. Again, within this, there are many compartments. There are many compartments are there. These compartments we can separate out. You can have a very fine details here. This one compartment one's location, even from Arunachal Pradesh to up to the compartment level, you can show. Then here this is the forest cover density. That means in a canopy cover density, you know here in details. Then with this is the location map. Here is the details forest and canopy cover map. And then even within this entire density, different area as well as your timber volume distribution within this reserve forest, you can have it in detail. Number of growing stock in below 30 degree slope, above 30 degree slope, number of trees available, all type of details you can calculate. This is how the geospatial technology can help. I have not explained the methodology of GIS, which software you are using. I'm only trying to show the output, so because time is not much. Also, I wanted to cover some of the points. Then, yeah, you can say that we have calculated, but what is the accuracy? Because until and unless you give a statement of accuracy of estimations, it is not acceptable. Then, like this, once you follow the procedure like this, which is a scientifically accepted procedure, even based on the field data you generated directly, you can calculate the even accuracy. Here mean is that 10.445. That means this is our plot is 0.1 hectare. So when you convert this to this plot is 0.1 hectare. So when you convert this to 1 hectare, that means here the for Mizoram average is 104.45 cubic meter per hectare average for it. But this estimates pertaining to only the forest cover area. Even within the reserve forest, their entire area is not covered by forest. So those are all excluding those areas. Wherever there is a forest cover, this average estimation is this much, and then within also having the sampling error of 2.1 to 161, and also having this upper bound and lower bound of estimation. That means with a 95% accuracy, this estimation is done so that our estimations, even there could be some error, but it will not go beyond 10 point, means 100. It will estimation per hectare should not be 108.88 cubic meter per hectare, and it should not be below 100 cubic meter per hectare. That's how the accuracy estimation statements we need to provide. This is even for division. So because that is entire Mizoram, that is for entire Mizoram state. This like division wise also you can calculate for Lunglei division is that estimated stratified standard error is only 0.18, and upper bound and lower bound, if you see, this is very narrow. So this is how we can calculate the growing stock for using normal remote sensing technology. Growing stock is also using, we can calculate using drone and or UAV. Yesterday, Professor Joshi has explained little bit about this growing stock estimation by drone utility of drone in forestry. You have already explained, but some of the small experiment we have been doing here. So I thought I should share with you how it is possible. So like this, once you have this satellite, the drone image, because drone image is very high resolution, it is centimeter level, maybe 10 centimeter, 5 meter level resolution data you get. So it is very, since satellite drone is at your control, so you can measure, you can control the height. Lower the height means better the image quality. So all very fine details you will get. Like this, each and every tree is possible to notify. Now, within this, what we require is that few identified trees, we need to do the grout measurement. We need to measure the height also from the ground itself. We need to estimate the canopy size. These are the field data what we need to collect, which is for the gram data we need to collect. And based on this, if we model this data and then do some segmentations, then each and every tree crown is segregated. That means each and every tree is identified here. Now, based on our ground data, when we model it, so from canopy height model, if we generate that each and every tree's height is calculated. Now we have the ground data. We know that what is the canopy size, what is the girth. So based on that, we can model it from based on the canopy size. Wherever unknown trees are there, we can calculate the possible girth. Then once you know the girth, remaining is already what we have explained. So from the girth, we can directly calculate the growing stock, of course, timber growing stock, merchantable growing stock. But once you know the growing stock, timber based on the above ground biomass, again below ground biomass also can be calculated. So many things are possible to do. Also, leader UAV, of course, this is not done by us. Leader UAV have not yet utilized properly, but some example what is yesterday Professor Joshi has just explained. I thought I also should put this type of exercise which is possible to do. Like leader is we can directly get the details of the individual trees. Here, this first image that is that 2-dimensional representation of this 3.3D point cloud data for one plot. So that means for single plot, how many trees are there? What is the height? What is the measure? You can directly get this is representation from 1D from 2D image representation from one angle. But same thing can be again displayed from the other angle also, because once you have the 3D data with you. B is that point density distribution on the vertical profile means what is the height. Normally, what is the height stem girth versus height canopy or canopy size? All this is represented here. Then here E example is that total E is the details of one tree stems. Once you know the one tree stem, that means here from here, if you will know the girth. And once you know the girth data, which is directly will come from the satellite leader data, from there directly you can calculate the
Hello.
direct field data,
Hello.
growing stock. This is what
Some network issues there. Okay, please continue. Sarma sir. Hello. We can wait because Dr. Sarma has a network issue.
yeah. Am I audible?
Okay, sir. No problem. Okay, sir. You are audible, sir. You
I don't know where,
can continue.
where I missed. I don't know. I think I have earlier slide I have shown.
Go to slide. You have to up it, na?
Yeah, this slide you have.
Last slide you show me.
This slide.
Okay, sir. Please continue. You are in UAV.
UAV, है ना? Okay, okay. This one just I explained this that UAV means once we have you. I think this slide I have explained. Growing stock using drone and UAV, we have that's what is possible to once we know the UAV data. We have this is very high resolution UAV data, so that it is centimeter level accuracy is possible. So from once you have the UAV data, what we require is that we need some few trees actual measurement from the ground, so that which we need to tell you with the imagery, and which has to be very clearly identifiable in the tree. So in the image itself, once we have this, then we can go for the density slicing based on automatic segmentation. Then once we have the clear segmented image of each and every crown, then we can put this field data what we have collected from the ground, and then we can generate the canopy height model. Once we have the canopy height data, then based on canopy height, and we know the girth of that particular individual few trees what we have that field data collected, we can use those field data to convert this canopy height to green stock. This is how this is possible to do. Then leader UAV data I just explained is that of course leader data very shortly, but that Professor Joshi has already explained this. So this is how we can utilize the UAV data. And then also growing stock, we can also directly model the entire growing stock exercise directly in the model data. Only we need to feed the field data collected by the ground staff. How this methodology here, methodology only for this here, I think Thadlaskein is mentioned. Yeah, Thadlaskein one block we try to do it. So for Meghalaya, here is that field data collected from this is the field data collected from different locations. Once we put all together and then run the model developed by one of my students, we can have a seamless volume distribution study in the study area without going for all table exercise. So this is how it is possible to do, and of course we need to do lots of research on those areas again. And some of the example of growing stock is utilized by forest departments like Meghalaya. This is a working plan approved by Ministry of Environment and Forest for Meghalaya growing stock. This is what example is total growing stock available. By Mizoram, like this working stock plan has already approved based on the growing stock generated using this technology. Yeah, I think I have taken less time than what I thought. That's all from my side.
Okay, thank you, sir,
Yeah.
for your excellent presentation. Sir, I want to actually, you can say participant also, you can say, so I have one or two questions. Myself, Dr. Patnaik. Sir, actually, FSI is doing the forest mapping, sir. Hello?
Yeah, I'm hearing.
Sarma, sir, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I am hearing.
And our NESAC also is doing that. The NESAC also doing some such type of activities like mapping. So, what is the actually working objective of FSI and NESAC as far as states is concerned?
No, you are no, actually the actual point what you ask is why we are doing this parallel work.
Yes, sir. Parallel and what our NESAC actually doing some big work which is NCI, FSI.
And okay, I think I have shown some example here earlier.
Can I get my point, sir? I could do.
Yeah, you can I
Along one or two images you have shown. You please explain, sir. You please tell. Okay.
see, I have shown this along example. See, FSI is doing this for exercise inter country. Okay, so when we talk about the inter country, smaller local, regional, local level variations may not affect in the country level estimations. So when we say, suppose when we say 80% forest within the Meghalaya, within the Arunachal Pradesh, it's okay when we make, but when within the particular divisions, small forest area is missing, but somewhere it is added due to reflectance differences or maybe make sun angle issues. That time what happened? Total area coverage may be same, but actually on the map there could be some differences. So what happened in regional level or the state level when we have a state estimation, that time those small variation will not affect. But when if department when they are going to prepare a management plan within the compartment level or watershed level, that time we need a very precise and correct map at higher resolution, higher scale for actual utilization. So that's why this type of exercise is important for state specific or division specific. It is not a contradiction to the what FSI is doing. It is if you have seen this statistics is matching. Only the differences are within the some areas are forest, open forest may be converted to the closed forest, maybe some closed forest may be in open forest. So only, but this is very important, crucial for the management which are working on the ground in that locality. So that's why it is not a parallel work, but is a supplement to what FSI is doing. I think I made my points clear. Hello.
Hello. Sarma sir, I am audible to you, sir.
Yeah, you are audible. I think I made my points clear. Or
sir, you have also clear. I got your point, sir. Another question from my side is, sir, you have also mentioned the sampling grid size, sir. It was you have mentioned 25 second by 20 second. So can I standardize that what type of grid we should take, what type of study as far as the block level, maybe regional level study is concerned? You please tell, sir, what should be the grid size standard, sir?
No, grid size. You are asking for what grid size?
So during the forest density mapping, sir, you have done. So mentioned.
Yeah, actually.
Now you tell other participants.
Speak from.
Sir. Hello.
Yeah. I think I got your question. Am I audible to you?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Audible. You can tell, sir.
So the point you have asked is that, as I understand, is that grid size, whatever the grid size, the different grid size for different areas, a block maybe, compartment maybe, or different size maybe state. I hope that is the question. Okay. So this grid standard by the is followed by FSI. With this grid size, we cannot change. So it is irrespective of your study area, because
Thank
you need to follow into the national grid. Whatever data you collect, ultimately forest department has to tell you with the national grid. So this is the as per the FSI grid size, but your number of sample size or location of samples can vary based on your total study area. That is only the differences.
Sure. So another thing, Dr. Joshi has also mentioned that you have also today repeated remote sensing without ground sensing is non-sensing. So my question is, so whether we can use drones and UAV for ground truthing, because we are going for around centimeter scale. So whether it will solve some of the purpose of ground truthing, sir?
I think your question itself has the answer. You are saying some of the question. So yes, some of the points will be definitely resolved. But when we going to, at least because when the ground for correlating with drone data also has to be first verified. So for that, at least you need some ground data. Not necessarily that today maybe you might be having some old data with you, which is ground validated. Those data you can use for your drone data validation first. Then these drone data can be utilized. So this can be the framing system. You are going upscaling. So that is possible. But your answer is in your question itself. Some of the data can be.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir. You have nicely explained my queries. Now I request other participants, if you have some queries, you can interact with our Sarma sir. He has nicely delivered very many case studies. He has explained good work is doing in our northeast states, and it is useful for others also. Please, other participants, if you have any queries, please ask.
Yeah, dear participant, if you have any queries, you can type it in the chat box.
I think I explained very well to all, or maybe I could not explain at all anything. Okay, no issue. I think even my email ID is there. Somebody have any query, can send me by mail also. I will definitely attend that questions. And also I like to thank this organizer for inviting me to give the talk. Yeah, please. Over to you, Patan.
Hello. Oh yeah. Hello. Sir, I have given a privilege to unmute some of the participant to ask the question. I think they can ask directly. Dear participant, if you have any question, please. I given a privilege of unmuting.
Okay,
if not, sir, thank you. I have sent you topic beginning. You have explained nicely how to measure, how to and cover estimate forest canopy. It's very neatly you have taking a picture and even for the pen using drone, and you have explained very nicely, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And dear participant, we will meet around 2:30 for the next session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.